What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. Want to talk about Axis football. I played a full game, Indianapolis at Carolina, the Gladiators at the Rattlers. And it's been 2 years since Axis did not release on PlayStation last year that I've had off from this game. And that's not all that common. I usually play football games every single year. So I was really impressed with some of the improvements I saw from the last time I played Axis to now. Now, I do want to say first and foremost, and we'll get into this later, the line play is a disappointment. It has to be rebuilt from the ground up, both pass and run. I know that's a difficult thing to do, but let's talk about some of the things I noticed playing this game and to show them to you at speed and then go back and break them down here. So one of the first things I noticed is how the defense holds its ground very well. It's very disciplined defense. The receiver does a great job here at coming back to catch this pass a number of yards, then is able to turn while staying in the field of play, but my defense holds true, doesn't just chase the receiver, doesn't just chase position, stays true, makes the tackle. It's what you really want to see. Secondarily, you take a look at a play like this, something that used to really hinder this game was that receivers would catch the ball and stop, couldn't catch the ball in stride. Here you see a great example not only of a player moving into open field and getting the pass, but the defender does a great job at turning back, trying to play the ball, and at times the physics in this game really look good when players seem to just collide organically. So I like some of the animations that I see, but not all, and we're going to talk about that right here. Because to me, whether this is a glitch or a bug, I understand shifting and warping can happen in football games, in all games, but it should not end a play. And in this case, it most certainly does. And it's a shame because when you actually look at what happens here, the blocking is very good. Every player goes out, finds someone to block, and then blocks that player. Now, once this player kind of gets thrown out of a block, that's what causes the problem, which again, if that's something that can be fixed, this is a touchdown on a beautifully blocked play because the logic was there to go find one player and block them. Now, one of the issues all games have is zone coverage. We're going to talk about one of the issues, but I love the fact that they have players that can extend plays. And by that, I mean a receiver that understands my quarterback is scrambling and I need to go do something. Now, when we talk about zone defenses here, the red area in the field really confuses these players. They actually do a great job at passing the B receiver off. But for some reason, the A receiver gets completely neglected and then works his way to the sideline almost too much. He may have went out of bounds, which they can correct, I'm sure, but then turns back into the field, catches the ball, and as I said, as far as blocking is concerned, it's almost too good. But the position here gets respected. The player can't run through. Animation could be better, but the position here is not respected because the defender could turn and release from that block to go make the tackle. So better animations in terms of the block, and that's a much better looking play, but again, the logic is there. Probably my favorite play of the whole series was this interception that I threw. This is obviously a difficult throw to make. We know that, but you get a player out in the flat. You obviously have a defensive player that can come and just get to where the pass is going to be. It's in front of him. He has natural position on this. So often, the more aggressive player, the first player to the spot the ball is thrown, makes this catch, and in this case, it happens, and then you kind of see that organic contact and collapse of the players afterwards. The last play here, again, just talking about how the catch in stride has improved. Before, this is a situation I can tell you with all confidence, the receiver would have caught the ball, stopped, turned, looked at the quarterback, but instead, you have a blitz that comes through, leads the field wide open in the middle. I can confidently throw out to my receiver and know that he is going to go catch this pass in stride and then turn upfield to try to get extra yardage. Would have been nice to pick up a block here, but you've got players running toward him, and everybody keeps forward progress and momentum respected. So, with that said, with all that shown, literally like 3 minutes of gameplay improvements shown, I have long stated, to me, my worth of a football game is different than everyone else's. What I've asked games to do is to give me a franchise experience or a dynasty mode depth that does not actually require me to go play the game. Now, I know to so many, that's a game manager. You want a football manager. That's all you need, Ryan. But I'm a console gamer at my heart. So I don't want a football manager solely. I want a game that features online play if maybe I want to play that championship game. Maybe I want to play that playoff game. I want the option to be there, even if I know that I might not actually end up using it. So I can confidently tell you this year, Access Football has checked that box for me, meaning I feel comfortable enough with the franchise mode this game has in playing it simply for that. I feel like the depth of scouting, free agency, trades, player building, the tier system they've put in, gives me enough of a challenge to say, okay, I'm going to devote time to this game, and even if I don't actually play the game on the field, I'll have a rewarding enough and engaging enough experience just in the franchise mode that it's worth my time. Now, to be completely transparent, in the past, it wasn't doing that. But it is doing it now. They've added enough depth, in my opinion, to where I feel I can actually create a series with this game for the first time. So a lot of that came on the last 2 years of them building, implementing, and improving. And dare I say, I may even get to a point, if they can refine some of this gameplay, to where I would probably spend more time playing the game than I would actually going out and building a team in Dynasty mode. Now, as I said, the first part of that, in my opinion, lays with the defensive line and offensive line. Now, the challenge is twofold. Number one, when you're playing in a passing situation, it's very hard for you to understand how strong your pocket is and where you need to move if it starts to collapse, because the players are simply just essentially holding in one place the defensive line. There's no real trench warfare. There's no real battle. It's just a player is held until a player is released. And that creates a very visual concept of you're either blocked or you're not. And then once you're not blocked, I have to move immediately. So that same issue carries over to the run game. Most notably when you're trying to run inside your gaps, because you don't know what the integrity of those gaps is. So when I'm trying to run through an A gap, I don't know how the defensive line is being held against the offense. They could release as soon as I get there. They could not release. They could release as I pass. So you don't have any real confidence in what the line is doing from an offensive standpoint. From a defensive standpoint, it's just as bad in the fact that as you're trying to play, you're simply either almost stuck in mud or free run to the quarterback. So you almost find yourself playing other positions that you may not normally play in a game, like linebacker or cornerback, just to give you a challenge because you feel so limited by what it's offering to you playing on the defensive line, if that's traditionally what you do. And I know a lot of people, go back and take a look at Madden this year, put in controls just for the defensive line. A lot of people like to play D-line. I know there's gamers that will say, oh, you just stink at the game if you play D-line. Oh, you could be so much more if you ran around the field like a chicken with your head cut off, and you can make all these plays and be the best player ever and blah, 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 blah. But that's not, honestly, the gameplay experience everyone wants. And I think we have to learn as gamers, we all look for and want different things in a game. And to close this out with that point, when you're looking at a game, I think so much of it comes down to that war in the trenches, to the battle between the offensive and the defensive line. And no matter how good the rest of the game plays, or how good it looks, or how great the interactions are, when you have a game that you look at and the line is just standing there, or the line is just stuck together, or the line is just holding in place, it looks broken, okay? It looks as if it's not playing proper football, because to so many of us, we're conditioned to see kind of a seesaw battle between the offense and defensive line, or even to read the line in terms of how the splits are, or how a line is actually moving to determine whether it's a pass versus a run play. So the core, to me, of a football play is the offensive line. And if it doesn't work right, then no matter what the game does, it's going to appear broken. And that is one of the biggest issues these independent games face, including Axis, is the line play is not there to make someone want to sit down and play this game, because they're not going to get to every other benefit because they can't get past looking at the line. That's just the reality of it. Now, whether they can do what I'm doing and sit down and assess, hey, this franchise mode looks engaging enough for me as a gamer to sit down and invest my time in, who knows? But I think the main focal point this game has to start to push forward is we're rebuilding this line 100%. We're focusing it around gameplay for the user so that you can have a fun experience if that's what you choose to play. But we're also going to make sure that we add in a lot of visual cues in case, you don't play defensive line or you are on offense, you can start to better understand exactly what's happening. With that said, I appreciate you checking out this video, and I will be back in the week with more commentary.